Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Scott, that's Michael. We're hanging out today talking and giving you some information on some of the unexpected costs that you might not think about when you're moving to Lake of the Ozarks. And I think with home ownership or moving anywhere, you're probably gonna run into obviously cost of living and those kinds of things. And for sure, as a homeowner, you're gonna be surprised with some unexpected costs and some, system breakdowns and these kinds of things that you're gonna have to pony up at some point, whether it's HVAC or electrical or plumbing. Like, you always have that when you're a homeowner, but you might have some other unexpected costs being a homeowner at Lake of the Ozarks and having a lakefront property, having a dock, and some of those extra unexpected expenses that you might not think about. So we want to talk through some of that a little bit, and we'll definitely jump into the houses and stuff. But the first unexpected cost that kind of hits you or you don't realize maybe in the beginning is your dock. And there can actually be a lot of unexpected expenses when it comes to a dock. And I think when you're making a home purchase here, like, you got to look at the real estate side in the home, right? But the dock is just the same as far as value into your real estate transaction, right? It's personal property, so it's going to give value into the home. And sometimes you might find the perfect home and a crappy dock. Sometimes you might find a amazing dock in a crappy home. So we help you navigate all of those things along the way, but you can use myself as an example, right? We found a home, it needed some work and definitely some bugs, which we might talk about in a second, but the dock from a distance looked perfectly fine. It was like, cool, that looks like a nice dock. I don't really know much about docks. It looked fine, it was floating, no big deal, right? Then the more time I spent here, and I realized that my dock is actually very old, and it's a wood dock, and it's a small metal frame. And the cables on the dock were older, and these things that I didn't know and I learned as I went. So when it comes to the dock, making sure that the condition of the dock is where you need it to be. The cables on the dock are going to be important. So the dock is attached to the seawall through either stiff arms or just cables. And if those cables have been sagging in the water for year after year after year after year, eventually it's going to break down the cable. It's going to put wear and tear and rust and that kind of stuff. And that's what happened to ours. So an unexpected 4th of July weekend expense was when our cables broke on our dock and our dock started to float away. Like, that was unexpected. Like, no joke. The bridgeway to the dock fell in the water. It started to peel away. It was pure chaos and very unexpected. So making sure that when we're looking at the dock piece of it, that those cables are in decent shape, the structure of the dock is decent, the electrical work on the dock is decent, the fire department comes out and checks that. Michael will talk about it. You look at like bumper protection around the dock and around the poles and those kinds of things to protect your boat. But like, man, if you don't know, you're gonna know real quick. Like, the dock game and the expenses of those docks can get out of control.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. It's a entire process of an education if you're not from the area or used to lake living.
Yep.
And yes, you're exactly right. The home is one aspect of it. The dock setup is another aspect. The current dock may be way overkill for what you need. It may be way underkill. It may be perfect. There's a lot of that we need to work through. The challenging part about it is your docks, your lifts, and all of those amenities on those docks are personal property. So they're not technically real estate, but they're tied into your value of how these homes are priced. So we have to navigate and work through that. There's a lot of scenarios where you have docks as cheap as $10,000 and we have docks at $500,000, right? It all depends on what that homeowner wants for that dock life. We can do a whole video series on dock life at some point if we want to. But the big things that we try to look for is the dock transfer, and the safety of the dock is the responsibility of the seller to provide that to the buyer at closing. Okay, so that's just the safety part of it. It doesn't include your dock fenders. It doesn't include the lighting. It doesn't include the cabling done correctly. It's just the safety of the dock. So we try to navigate that up front within our offer, right? Number two is that once you get here and you close, what you thought you wanted in a dock may be very different, which is what happened, I think, with you and your wife is, hey, it was great at a dock, and then you got here and you brought the boat down, and it's a whole different use case now. So over time, you've done dock modification and updated them. Those are unexpected expenses expenses
Yeah.
that definitely come up.
Yep.
Now, outside of that, once your dock is in place, there's not really a ton of annual expenses on them. There's some periodic maintenance that happens.
Yes.
And if you have a wood dock versus a concrete dock, etc.
Yeah, and not to keep going down the hole of docks, because you could, and we probably will shoot more videos when it comes to docks and some of the maintenance. I just wanted to hit that one right off the bat. Like, the dock can definitely bring some unexpected expenses, things you obviously aren't used to if you're just living in suburbia America. We'll do another video and we'll talk about docks and some of the maintenance that is required on it. We'll shoot one here in a few weeks. But the first one is obviously that unexpected expense that you could have. Another unexpected expense is just like almost kind of like the upkeep and maintenance and the exterior of your property, you know. And again, I joke about it all the time when we bought our home and the seller just kind of left the property. So when we got here, we learned that there was a lot of bugs and spiders and things that we were like pleasantly surprised about. It was horrible, right? And so, you know, understanding that you have to like power wash your house, you know, at the beginning of a season and maybe at the end of the season, and you got to have like some pest control. You got to have a bug guy. Like the most important person in your house around here is the bug guy, right? My wife loves the bug guy, but you got to do that. And if you don't know, now you know, right? Because that is an unexpected expense that we had no idea until we bought. So like, it's weird how all these unexpected expenses are like personal to me. Like,
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean? I learned the hard way on the dock, and I 1000% learned the hard way on the bug guy.
Yeah, we did too. I had the exact same thing. My wife is the exact same way. She, you know, hey, if we see bugs or bugs around the house, I'm out.
Yeah.
So it is a priority in our house too.
It's amazing how happy my wife gets when the bug guy shows up.
I think she likes him better than you.
She probably does like the bug guy better than me. She's like, the bug guy, I love him.
You mentioned, Scott, a little bit the pressure washing twice a year.
Yes.
With Four Seasons being on a lake, things do have deterioration that does build up. A little bit of mildew here and there.
A little bit of, yep.
Not a big deal, but at least twice a year. Ours we do twice a year. I think a lot of our clients do. It freshens the house up, cleans it up, and then you have a clean slate for in that spring when the bug guy shows up for the exterior. Yep. And when we talk about bugs, one thing that we didn't mention is we have our dock sprayed.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge value add. So your docks, your boat, all that gets sprayed, and that it's a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, especially when you walk down to your dock and get ready to go out on the boat and you got your friends or family over, and like you got to be like, hey, hang on a second, I got to spend 20-30 minutes cleaning the spider crap off my boat.
Right.
It's tough.
Right.
So look, you got some unexpected things you might not think about. Obviously with home ownership, you're going to have your normal everyday kind of wear and tear cost of being on a home. But here you're going to have the docks, you're going to have the bugs. I think you're also going to have like just some yard, maybe some extra yard maintenance. Like, I don't know where you live, and we all live in different places across the country, but if you're in suburbia in America, and we talk to a lot of people that are just in big metropolitan areas, suburban lifestyles, you might have that one, hey, I have to have one tree in my yard, right? Because that's what the HOA says. Yeah. Well, here you have like a ton of trees everywhere, right? And those trees are going to shed their leaves come fall. Those leaves are going to fall on your property, and that creates an unexpected cost. And you're either raking or blowing those leaves into a pile and you're burning them in your backyard somewhere, or you have an unexpected cost and you're gonna have somebody come do that for you. You can also just like suck them up with a big hose. But if you don't know about those things, right, you're gonna know about it, and it's gonna be an unexpected expense that you're gonna have to incur.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. So there are some that will blow all their leaves to one spot in the yard on the lakeside and burn, which that is permitted with a permit, but it does leave a stain. There are some, like we've chosen in our neighborhood, is we have them pulled or sucked, and then they're disposed of. It's less leaves that go in the lake. I mean, we're kind of doing our part, if you will. The other expense, as I'm sitting here in our current location with trees all around us, is an expense that got me was we've had a couple trees in random storms just fall. Fall. Yeah. And they would fall between the houses, things like that. Typically in this environment with your neighbors, you share that expense to get those trees out of here. The tree companies are amazing down here. It's not a super expensive thing, but it does need to be done quickly because they could cause damage. So I would say I kind of give people about once every 3 to 4 years, there may be a freak storm of some sort. There could be a tree that falls, and we have to deal with that. That is something that caught us off guard. I never thought about that.
Yep. good point. So the last kind of like expense or unexpected expense we wanted to talk about, kind of getting back down to the dock, could be your seawall. Understanding that that is your property, right? You're responsible for the upkeep of it, and you could have a deteriorating, crappy seawall if you want, but for the most part, right, you're gonna want that intact. Your dock is anchored to it, so you want to make sure again that that is in a good condition. And when you're touring homes and looking at them, again, you're obviously very interested in the real estate side and what is the home and the bedrooms and the bathrooms. And I think from a normal home purchasing perspective, what's the hot water heater look like? What's the HVAC system look like? How's the electrical look? What's the foundation look like? I don't think those are unexpected expenses. Like, those are just things you should know as being a homeowner, that you're either going to want to square up during the home buying process, have the seller address them, get some credit, get some things replaced. Like, all of those things are normal. But I think a lot of the unexpected expenses come outside the property, and understanding that you live in a remote country, mountainous kind of area, a lot of hills, a lot of trees, a lot of nature, a lot of bugs, like, you know what I mean? And you're obviously, if you're looking at a lakefront home, you're gonna have the dock, the seawall, those unexpected expenses that you just don't have in, like, in suburban America. And I think if you live off lake, right, and you have acreage and more stuff, you're clearly gonna have some extra expenses with land and maintenance and upkeep of that property as well. So, things to think about. Like, I don't think any of these are unexpected, like break the bank kind of costs.
No.
They're just kind of like nickel and dime annoying kind of costs.
And they show up at just random times.
Totally.
There's no cycle for them to show up. So they're just random when they show up.
And if you want another unexpected expense cost, buy a boat.
We should just do a boat video.
You will do a boat video, because
break out another 1,000.
Yeah, find the YouTube video on break out another 1,000, and that's what boat stands for.
Yep.
You will absolutely have some unexpected expenses if you buy a boat.
You will.
So dumb. Anyway, just some things to think about, right? We love making these videos, having a little fun, providing you information, resources, content, whatever we can do to help you out with anything around Lake of the Ozarks. Call, text, email, come into town to visit us. We would love to help you out. Till then, guys, we'll see you on the next video. Bye. Got better meat, she's like the bug guy, I love him. Got better meat, she's like the bug guy, I love him.
You mentioned Scott a little bit.
First one is obviously that unexpected expense that you could have.